Yes, we certainly had. But it wasn't so with these women who preferred rice to caviar. They told us that the sturgeon and its roe were unclean, only to be eaten by cattle and foreigners. The women were working on lands that the Par-Levy Foundation was helping to modernize. The tractor pumps water out of the river and into a homemade irrigation system. Most of the Caspian area is divided into paddy fields. One or two of these sections have to support an entire family. These fields, part of the Shah's old estates, have now been granted to the peasants, but elsewhere in the Caspian, 4/5 of the crop goes to the landowner and only 1/5 to the man who does the work. This is the transplanting season, when the rice shoots are moved from the small nursery patches out into the fields, where they'll grow and eventually be harvested. The mud was over a foot deep. But every village has its Persian bath. On 2 days a week, this bath is reserved for women, and on the other 4 days, it becomes a sort of male club. In this part of Persia, they believe in removing all hair from the body, and so visitors to the bath put on a special type of mud, which, as I saw, really burns it off. And then into the bath before you get burnt as well. The sea? That's only for children and tourists who drive up from Tehran during the summer. And the local families who watch them. I looked out for boats fishing for caviar, but there were only 1 or 2 because it was the end of the season. The nets they use are of an artificial fibre made in Russia, and they're capable of holding the biggest sturgeon, which can weigh more than a ton. The catch was only a medium-sized fish, but sometimes a big sturgeon, which must be a female, can yield 300 pounds of caviar, which will sell in England at a total of something like 3,000 pounds. No one seemed interested in the catch, except for what must be the most expensively fed animal in the world. Caviar is the sturgeon's roe, usually 3 million eggs or more, but this fish turned out to be a male, and therefore no use for caviar. The cat and I were both deprived of our object. No caviar, and the sturgeon went into cold storage. Then my interpreter introduced me to the manager.
Mahmoud, please will you ask the manager of this fish factory if the sturgeon has to be a virgin before you can get caviar?
Okay, sir. از کنم میگن که آیا وقتی که دانه ماهی یعنی بچه ماهی و خاویار با هم در یک جا در شکم ماهی هست یا خیر؟
بله، اینا همه در یک پرده هست. در اون پرده چسبیده داره، در اونجا دانه ها دانه چسبیده داره. از اون قلبی و دانه ها رد میشه، پرده میماند روی قلبی.
صحیح. یعنی وقتی که خاویار داره،
بله.
تخم داره، تخمش پخش میکنه،
بله.
بعداً از خاویارش
استفاده در میاره.
Yes, sir.
Well, what about the sea itself? How's fishing out there in the sea?
It is 2 parts. The Iranian part is deeper than Russia. So any year the water of Caspian goes low.
It's getting lower
every year. Getting low every year. But from the Iranian side, just a year 2 meter or 1.5 meter. But from the Russia, it goes low about 18 or 20 meter.
I see. Now, finally, would you please ask the manager here if he likes to eat caviar himself?
I see. میگن که آیا شما خاویار دوست دارید بخورید؟
خاویار خیلی چیز خوبی است. لذیذه خیلی. خیلی ویتامین داره.
The gentleman says, sure.
On the other side of the Persian Caspian is the port of Bandar Pahlavi. Still on the trail of caviar, we try to get into another factory. This time we hoped by invitation. But once again, the virgin sturgeon eluded us. We'd arrived 2 days ahead of schedule. And the gate with the sturgeon as its crest remained firmly shut.
And so we never did get in the fish factory in the end. The reason? Well, things are very complicated in Iran. To get permission to take photographs of the factory, a letter had to be sent from one department of the Ministry of Publicity to another department of the Ministry of Publicity, and from there it should have been sent to the Ministry of Finance, who in turn should have forwarded to the Ministry of Fisheries. The Ministry of Fisheries should have sent it to the mayor of Pahlavi, the town in which the factory is, and the mayor of Pahlavi should have sent it to the manager of the factory. The letter didn't get there, although we did, so we couldn't get inside the factory. But ITN roving reporters are never defeated, and we did the best we could. This sturgeon is the fish. This caviar is the dish. And the Caspian is the sea that it comes from.
Next week, in Roving Report, Tim Brinton has an exclusive interview with the Shah of Persia and his Queen Farah Diba at the Royal Palace.